Yep, you gotta love it a little less.
A little less, just
a little less.
less.
You're suffocating them right now.
You're a chicle right now. Leave,
Right,
El
right,
chicle.
right.
leave the plant alone. We're live, Cuzzo. Hit him with
We
that
are
intro.
back. Welcome back to the Electus Podcast. Today, we are fortunate enough to be here at Nide Jardin in downtown Aurora with Nancy.
Hello.
The
How's
owner.
everyone?
Yep. Thank you for having us. And first and foremost, what we'd like to start off with is just asking you kind of how you got into the business.
Okay.
You know, and what was your first thought when you wanted to create this space?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the space was kind of born in my brain a while back. Like
Uh-huh.
I think I said 8 years ago, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
I wrote it down in like a journal of ideas I have,
Mhm.
and it was definitely I wanted it to be a boutique that was BPOC centered.
Okay.
And then obviously during the pandemic, we, like I already had plants because plants are just part of my life. Like, especially like I'm Mexican American. So my mom always had some plant and it was like, ve agarra aquella planta para hacer un té. Like, let's go get the mint or go get the hierbabuena or whatever to make a tea, or, oh, you burned yourself, go get a piece of the aloe vera.
Right.
So it's just part of my, of our culture,
Yep.
So once the pandemic hit, I just kind of started creating my my collection
Of plants?
of
Yeah.
plants
At
that
the
turned
house?
into a jungle.
Yeah.
It's nice in
Yeah.
here, though.
Yeah.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. Aesthetically, it's amazing. As you guys can see, if you look behind us, this is only a little bit of it. But if you get the chance, definitely stop by. Take a look around.
And you actually didn't tell him, man. We're actually in Mexico right now. Like, that's
I
the
did-
crazy part.
Yeah, no, that's the
This
vibe.
is-
That is
this
the
is
vibe.
nice, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very rustic.
Little rustic
Very
look.
a lot of earth tones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real nice.
I mean, it was. I've had the privilege that my parents were able to get their legal papers, their citizen or residency, when I was like around 9-ish, 10-ish. So the first thing we did was obviously go to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took us, and my dad always said, in order for you to know where you're going, you need to know where you're from. And so he would take us around the state of Michoacan, which is where they're from.
Nice.
And he would like show us like all of the artesanías, like, and food. Oh my God. Let me tell you guys, the
food over there is-
carnitas in Michoacan.
The food in Mexico
Fire.
is better.
It
If
is.
we're being
It
honest,
really
the food
is.
in Mexico is better. It really is. Yeah.
That inspired me to just take snippets of like my childhood, of those little experiences in Mexico, to add it here. And also my grandmas, both my grandmas had patios in the middle of their homes, because that's how in
how it is.
Mexico,
Yep.
that's how it is. Like you walk in, it's either the living room or some sort of like entering place, and then you go through that, and the middle is like a open patio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they both had that, and my mom's mom actually, there are still plants in her patio that are from like over 40 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's been gone now for over 30 years. So
Wow.
I mean, it just has been around us all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so. And where does the name come from?
Where I'm from, or my parents?
No, the name of your shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nide Jardin. So
Yeah.
Nide Jardin.
Sounds like a drink.
Let me get
Let me get one of
Let me
those.
get two of
Can I
those.
get a Nide? I like that.
Double shot.
Yeah.
Might be in the future.
There you
Right?
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, I want my cut.
So Nide Jardin comes from the saying that we have in Spanish. I think a lot of Latin American children of immigrants here in the United States have this saying where they say ni de aquí ni de allá, which translates to neither from here nor from there.
Ah.
Which I always tell people, here in America, people will be like, oh, where are you from? And I'll say Aurora, Illinois.
Right?
Right.
They're like, no, but really, where are you from?
Right.
And I'm like, Aurora, Illinois, born and raised,
Right.
And then I say, oh, okay, you mean where are my parents from?
Right.
Right.
And I say my parents are from Michoacan, Mexico, and I'm Mexican American, first generation, and then I go to Mexico and they're like, güerita, eres
Right.
americana.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
how it works. That's
That's
so
true.
true.
That's
so
true.
true.
So that I mean that's pretty dope where it comes from. So
That
it's like
is.
a old
It's-
school Spanish term or Mexican term.
Yeah, well, not really. So I actually combined the nide. It's two separate words.
Okay.
So I combined them together, and then I later on found out that nide means nest in French, and also jardín,
Garden.
is garden.
Yeah.
So I thought it was appropriate,
Yeah.
for here, because this is a collaboration of my memories and
Yeah.
being from both places.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that
that's
is
pretty
pretty
cool. And it does feel like that, a garden nest or a nest garden for sure. Now, your earliest memories of having plants and being around plants, like you said, come from your mom and your grandmother. But was there like a plant or a moment where they kind of spoke to you, if you will? Because I know in Latino culture, sometimes, they'll say that, hey, this plant, has life, or, that it's a
Yes, yeah.
calming effect, that there's a spiritual aspect to it.
I think because I was so young when my mom's mom, passed away, and everyone just talked about her, like, and I have little memories, but everyone talked about her like so like lovingly, and like even till this day I have cousins who never got to meet my grandma, and they're like, I love that woman, like, I think when I went to Mexico and I saw her garden and was there, it made me feel closer, to her, knowing that she loved this, and it was kind of a connection to that ancestry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's get into the business part.
Let's do it.
Let's get into the
Let's do
business
it.
part.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. How did you get into selling plants?
So, like I said, it was during the pandemic. And then, if I'm being honest, and I think this will probably be the first time I say this publicly,
We're getting
January
exclusives.
6th, 2021 happened. And I was in my living room. And I don't know if anyone, do you guys remember what
Yeah, I
happened
remember that
then?
day. Oh, I can't never forget
How
that
do you
day.
forget, right?
Never
Wait,
forget
which
that.
day?
January 6th.
Oh, the
The storming of the El
Of the
Capital.
Capitol.
yeah.
You remember
Yeah,
that
we
day?
we heard about that.
Yeah, so believe it or not, that really was kind of like, I was sitting there and I'm like, what in the world is happening? Like, how is this happening here, and quote unquote, the land of the free, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is how much hate is prevailing at this moment, that whoever doesn't want us in their spaces, right?
Right.
And I just said, F that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that
Yeah.
I make a space where it feels safe for everyone, but also is centered on BIPOC. Like, that was, I think, the deciding factor for me, that, like they say, el empuje, like,
Yeah.
like it kind of
Right.
lit
Yeah.
that fire.
Right,
and was like,
right,
oh
right.
no, it's happening now.
And then-
And it's kind of funny too, like that's what not necessarily 100% sparked it, but that's
What
the
gave me like
catalyst.
the courage,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh my God, no, especially I was during a time too where I was trying to discover more about like my indigenous roots, and just, and thinking like, how dare anyone say, anyone doesn't belong anywhere.
Right.
And that was just kind of like, oh no, now I'm really digging in, and
Right.
it's on.
Yeah.
And what made you decide plants?
Well, I think it's from my family,
Family heritage, yeah.
and also just because plants have no culture. Most of these plants are not native to here, and yet
True.
they are able to thrive anywhere as long as you give them the love and care and support that they require.
Right.
Sure.
And we're just like plants too. All we need is the love and support that
Yeah.
we require, and we can thrive anywhere.
Yep.
True.
You
Yeah.
know?
Someone to pour life into you for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what were the crazy things people were telling you when you said you were going to open a plant shop?
Oh my God, I think there was obviously everyone was like, why plants? Or what kind of plants?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what kind of plant?
Yeah. You're like, it smells. There's a strong smell coming from that
Right.
plant store.
Right.
I did have people ask me all the time that,
Yeah.
like, what kind of plants? I'm like, not those kind. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Right.
But yeah, it really is just that. And also for me is being in touch with nature. Like, that always grounds me. Like,
Okay.
it's kind of that time to just kind of have for myself, right?
Yeah.
And then the other aspect of it was that it was helping me through my mental health during a time where I was having a hard time. You know, I had just had a baby, and you know, I didn't know what hit me, and it's called postpartum.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
And that's a very, you know, obviously, anybody, you know, who's battled mental health or dealt with mental health, can probably understand, like, hey, you know, sometimes you need to take that step back and focus on yourself in that moment. You know, find what works for you, what's going to be best for you, and just take it one day at a time. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
And plants too. I mean, like one thing I was going to ask you about the plants is I know that some plants, going back to love and care and taking care of them, some plants need to be watered daily, right? Some or is that what's the general consensus on how to take care of a plant for someone who doesn't know how?
Yeah, so here is the thing. I always tell people, just like us, every one of us is different. Some of us may need the same things, but it just depends. You have to learn to kind of get to know your plant's like personality. I always tell people that. So the first thing I always tell people is if you're new to plants and you just are kind of like, I'm going to try this out, I say take it home, water it from the bottom, like in a dish, like put water in there, kind of take a look at how much it's drinking up the water, you know, if did you do a cup, you know, and did that go real fast? That means she's thirsty and you need to add more, you know? And then that way you get to know that plant, right? So it's kind of a little bit like dating it. In that weird
Gotcha.
way.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, you gotta take your time. You know, you can't move too fast with these plants.
Not with these plants. Man.
Yeah, because if you do love them, most of the time people the mistake they make is that they love the plants too much, so they want to overwater it, give it too much sun, give it too much love, and then I'm like, you loved it too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You gotta love it a little less.
A little less.
You know,
Just
a little less.
less.
You're suffocating them right now.
You're a chiclet right now. Leave,
Right.
leave the plant alone.
Yeah.
But what were the aside from having a kid when you first started, what were the other challenges that you faced when you first opened, or even prior to opening, trying to get the spot, trying to figure out how you were gonna do this? You know, what were those?
Oh my God. Well, where do I start? Should we start with gatekeeping or should we start?
Yeah, right. Yep.
Well, first and foremost, there was a lot of gatekeeping, right? You know, those resources that should be available to all of us, you know, we all know sometimes are not. And that was the biggest thing, was just trying to get my foot in the door with markets and with, you know, just other, you know, places to pop up at. Thankfully, you know, the farmers market was amazing. They were like, yeah, like I think they had already started in 2021 their season, and I was just like, hey, like, is there a chance I can get a date? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And then Yvonne from the Kind Seed Exchange, she was like, girl, you can pop up in here whenever.
Dope. Shout out to Yvonne.
Yeah, shout out
Yvonne. So it, you know, it was just kind of keep knocking on those doors, but the gatekeeping was real hard because it was like, well, you know, these markets are curated like months in advance. And then, you know, I'd hear from other vendor friends that are like, oh yeah, I got in. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? What's your theory?
I mean,
Briefly, what's your theory?
I mean, I think it definitely has to do with, you know, race, obviously. There's always that perception that, you know, Latino labor is not the same as other labor, or BIPOC labor is just not the same as other labor. And so I think I feel that especially like in the retail industry, anything that has to be, and I can only speak for myself because I'm Mexican American, that is like Mexicano or black or, you know, Latino is not considered luxury, right? Doesn't come from Europe, so it must not be luxurious. You know?
It's at the flea market.
Yeah.
We get the flea market. So.
You know, and it's like, you know, I come from, my indigenous background is Purepecha. And so I come from a indigenous group that never got conquered by the Aztecs or the Spanish. You
Wow.
know, they
That's dope.
eventually just kind
Yeah.
of like decided, all right, the Spanish are taking over everything, and if they messed up the Aztecs, then we need to make some sort of like
Right.
agreement.
Yeah, we need a deal.
No, yeah.
Let's make a
See, they were
deal.
intelligent enough to be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
this. We can't win this war, so
Yeah.
You know?
So I just, for me, it was just like, all right, well, I'm not gonna get conquered here. We're gonna keep on going.
Yeah.
And let's make deals then, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just kind of like, give me a chance. Like, if no one comes or it's not the vibe, then I totally understand if you don't want to accept me next time. And once I got that chance, like it was amazing because my community came out and supported, and
Yeah.
And the plant community too. Like, I mean, the plant community is a real thing, guys.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure,
I
for
bet.
sure.
I bet.
So jumping off that cliff, and taking that risk. Initially, did any intrusive thoughts come in?
100%. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
It was always like, am I doing the best? Is this, like, should I do this better? Or social media. Oh my God, social media is like my,
Yeah.
like, what is it? My kryptonite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Social media can be, you kind of have to stay away. I shouldn't say stay away from it 100%, but there's so much. There can be so much negativity,
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And also comparing yourself. I think that's one of the things, initially happens. You compare yourself to other people, and it's kind of like having to have people that are going to check you who've
Right.
known you for a while and say like, hey, like, remember where you started, and like you are here. This is where
Yeah.
you wanted to be, right?
Right.
And also just kind of having a great partner.
Yep.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, because we talk about that all the time. I mean, if your partner's not down with what you're doing, I mean, it's going to be a battle outside of the battle that you're already going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
No, yeah. What advice? Because you obviously I've met you before, but this is David's first time meeting you, and I'm sure he can tell that you have this fire and this passion inside of you. But what advice would you give to young women, who also want to go down a similar route of entrepreneurship, or who kind of want to challenge the status quo? What advice would you give to them?
Can I say it?
Say it.
Say it?
Yeah.
Say it.
Act like a mediocre white man.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Or just like a man, really, because that's the thing, I think and it's not to say, oh, men or women, because I know you guys get intrusive thoughts
Right.
as well, but I don't. Now we're changing the way we're raising our daughters and our sons, right? But when I was raised, it was like, you're a girl, you get to do this, and don't do this because it's maybe too dangerous for you, and or no te avientes porque people might want to hurt you or whatever,
Right.
and it's kind of like, no, just do it.
Well, I think that's the Latino culture, too. You
Yeah.
know, because we don't speak up a lot. Because we don't want no problems.
Yeah, you want
We
to.
don't want no problems, so we don't say much. We just kind of just go with the flow.
Right.
100%.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to be the nail that sticks out.
Right. Yeah, don't bring no attention to yourself.
Yeah.
But I agree with that though, because I have daughters too. I mean, the
Oh,
more dangerous, the better. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? In a good way.
Yes, no,
Right.
I agree, because there's things now that I'm like, I have to be brave. I have to do, I have to talk myself into doing them. And I still get self-doubt and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I always see how it feels after I've done it, and I'm like, that felt really good, and it felt empowering.
Yeah.
And it didn't come from anyone else or any source outside of me but myself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's nice to see, like, people in the neighborhood and people in the community that talk about the realness of trying to achieve success. Like, sometimes in the movies or the TV shows, it's just, in 30 minutes or an hour and a half, they're showing you this person, they overcome all their trauma and all everything, and then, they live happily ever after. Like, no, this is a every day, every year kind of, constant improvement thing that we're all just working at,
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, and especially, in, like you said, Latino culture, we don't take care of ourselves, and BIPOC culture, period. We don't take care of ourselves. I was just telling Malcolm earlier, I said, I'm like, I still can't figure out how to call self-care in Spanish. Like, cuidarte, like,
Yeah, we don't do much of that.
No,
Yeah,
if you take a day to yourself, like we were joking and saying, like, well, you're being lazy.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yep.
if you just choose to do nothing for a day, you know, somebody in your family is gonna be like, "Ah, dude's
What are
being
you
lazy."
doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sitting on the couch.
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly.
Go do something.
Yeah.
Ponte a hacer qué hacer.
Yeah, do something. I got something for you to do.
Yeah. That's my mom's
All right,
favorite.
Let me get up there.
That's my mom's
Let me get
favorite.
up real quick.
Yeah. Do we got to take a break? Or
No, not yet.
We
We're
can
still
shoot
good.
through?
Yeah, we could just shoot through.
Good,
Yep.
good.
Yep. So when you were like planning this, how much time did you take before you decided to open, you know, like a store, or was it something you were just like, I'm gonna just jump in it?
I think that was the goal first. The goal was, let's open a retail spot, because I used to travel for work a lot, as I had mentioned to you guys previously, and I would go to other places, and I would see that in other places like Texas or Arizona, specifically more West Coast, there was a lot of like BIPOC pride.
Yeah.
And like I know in California they've had Chicano studies for a long time. I don't even think that was something that they like did here for until recently.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, again, going back to what my dad said, you need to know where you came from to know where you're going, right?
Right.
And so seeing that and realizing like, hey, I want to have really nice things in my house, but why are they all in English? I speak Spanish, right? I was like, I want to associate myself with other vendors that can create those things, or other artisans that can create those things, because we are a diverse city. We're a diverse country to a certain degree, in pockets. And just like I feel as a Latina woman with parents that are immigrants and all the things that come with that, there are Indian women or Indian men and women. There are Asian, men, black men and women who feel that way, because you're trying to fit into two different cultures.
Right.
And I wanted to bring that here to Aurora. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then did you just jump right into it, or was it like a plan that you and your partner sat down and figured out, or?
I kind of just jumped into it, and then he was like, all right, I guess we're going on this roller coaster.
Yep.
And that was another challenge I had, was trying to find a space, because every time I'd go to find a space, it was like, oh no, this isn't what we want here, or you're too much of a startup, or whatever the reason was, right? Thankfully, my husband believed in me and, was like, I didn't want to go to him first because, I wanted to do it on my own.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm not even gonna lie, I went home and I cried one day.
Yeah.
And more because I was
bet.
pissed, right?
Yeah.
And I went home and I cried, and he was like, all right, well, what are we going to do now, right?
Yeah.
And so then I was like, well, maybe we can look for a space to actually purchase. And he was like, okay, now you've piqued my interest, because he's into real estate.
Right.
There you go.
And
Yeah,
so then I was like, okay. And we kind of started, honestly, after that, it was kind of like fate, because we were able to find someone. Actually, we walked into McCarty Mills, and I was like, oh, I love this place. And she's like, well, I know the owner. I can, tell you who he is. And I think he's here in town. And things just kind of went from there.
Snowballed after that.
Yeah, snowballed. And we got to meet him, and he met us. And, he was like, I think you guys should do it. And, my husband was able to get everything going. And also shout out to Chris Faber from Invest Aurora, because he did give us a chance,
Nice.
and said, let's look and see if we can help.
Nice. So how long have you guys been open now?
Sorry?
How long have you guys been open now?
I opened April 19th of this year.
Oh, okay. So you're
Yeah.
still fresh.
I'm still fresh, yeah. But I've
Fresh.
been in the markets since summer of 2021. Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like longer though.
It does, because I talked about it so much to
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
that would listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to. You have
Yeah.
to tell everybody.
Because I remember when we first met you, it was at one of the First Fridays.
Yes.
I believe it
yes.
was.
I think I was at Yvonne's spot, maybe.
And I think I remember it being right outside of Obanzi.
Oh yes, it was the kermes. The
Yep.
kermes, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember now. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow. I'm like, these are a lot of plants. And then I can't. And then when I
These
finally
are-
saw the space, I'm like, okay, no wait, those weren't a lot of plants. This is
It's
a lot of plants.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
thought my house had a lot of plants. And
No,
now-
man,
'cause
no.
you know my house got plants.
Yep,
I'm
yep, yep,
like
yep,
a new
yep.
plant every week.
I mean,
But
don't
now,
hate.
now we know where the plants are, though. I didn't even know because I only knew about one plant store, but it was on the corner of, what was it Lake and Downer,
You're talking
Lake and
about
Lake and Benton. That was an old one. It was a little right next to the
Oh,
yeah.
to the car
Yeah.
to the car
Benton
shop.
Auto Repair.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
And then that's it. That's why when he told me, I was like, man, where's it at?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, but that's good.
No, and it's nice. It's nice. It's hidden in the cut, you know. Because when
Yeah.
you walk in, that's really. I mean, the space kind of grabs you in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So who? And that's another question I was gonna. Who designed it? Like where you guys put plants versus, you know.
So it's been a collective.
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted it to feel like. So I knew I wanted people to feel like they were stepping outside. Coming in, you know. I don't know if any of you guys have been to the Paris Hotel in Vegas, and when you walk in, they give you that feel like you're walking in Paris.
Oh yeah, I know.
You
what you're
know,
talking about. Yeah, I know. what you're
obviously I
talking
don't have Paris Hotel money, so
Right.
so I was
Yeah.
like, I want people to think they're walking into my grandma's patio. So
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it has that.
Oh
feel.
yeah, it does have that feel. Yeah, the colors and everything. Everything has that feel.
yeah.
So how for somebody new who wants to get into plants, what would you tell them? Where's a good place to start?
Okay, so here is my thing. I tell people, just like crystals, which I have here too, which we can get into too.
All right. I'm
learning a lot.
I tell people, I'm like, sometimes it's okay for the plant to pick you, right?
Yeah.
Because I believe in energy, so all these plants have energy, and sometimes you're just attracted to a plant. You're like, I really like this plant, and I tell people, like, it can be instinctual. If not, start with a pothos. You know, start with a pothos, which it's the viney ones that you see everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay,
I
yeah.
think I have one of those at the
Yeah,
house.
and they grow like weeds. And,
Yeah, they grow.
mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, those are easy. They can go from not shade but low light to a little bit more brighter light, and the watering is kind of like inconsistent. You can see when they're sad. You definitely see their demeanor.
Okay.
Definitely see when they're sad.
No, yeah. I mean, now something that I thought about because you bring up because when you talk about plants, like you talk about them as if they're living creatures, right?
Yeah.
And they are.
Yes.
Right. But I think so many of us, we've just been indoctrinated to believe that we don't have to connect with nature anymore, right? And we live in a capitalistic society that time and time again shows us that, hey, we're going to choose profit over, you know, taking care of the planet. So when you speak about, you know, having a plant pick you or picking up on its energy, is that something that goes back to your indigenous roots?
I believe it does.
Yeah, of connecting back with the earth and connecting back with nature.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe it does. You know, I think anyone that's been in a Latino household or, you know, even Black household, like you are always constantly getting a home remedy for everything.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Vaporu. Vaporu, man.
Vaporu,
And a Sprite or 7-Up.
You guys don't even want to know. When I had a stomach ache, my dad would be like, let's grab some alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, and they would put it in bread.
What?
And then they would put it on our stomachs.
Really?
Dang.
Yeah, and
I
it
don't remember
actually
this
worked.
one.
I don't know what the science is behind it,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
it worked. Maybe it was just, you know,
Placebo effect?
I'm going to try that next time.
Yeah, right.
on your kids. He's going to be
Right.
like, let me.
Yeah, your kids gonna be, Dad,
I
what you
learned this
doing?"
on the podcast,
Yeah.
man. I'm going to try this.
Yep.
But, you know, it was all those things that I'd be like, why are they doing this stuff to me?
Yeah.
You know, and now I go back and I read, and like science is starting to find out that, like, yeah, our indigenous ancestors kind of had a thing going for medicinal, and like
Yeah.
they were onto something.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
What's
Well,
that? Remember when we were talking about aliens that was a couple episodes ago?
Yeah.
We were talking about aliens, and we were talking about how back then there's so many things that they had access to that they were doing, and we don't know why they were doing them. And then they went away, and then it like went away.
Yeah.
Remember,
there's a block of history that just
It's
seems
just-
like it vanished.
Because like, why did nobody ever learn about that?
Well,
Because
do
they
you want
wanted
me
you to
say
buy
it?
Pepto. That's why.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, say it.
Hashtag colonization.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, they say history is written by the winners.
It's
That's true.
You know,
It's
and
true.
that's where, you know, that those are the things where now I'm looking into and saying, hey, like, we lost so much knowledge, but it has been passed down, you know, families to family, you know, kid to, you know, all, like, it's been passed down. We don't know why we do it. It works,
We just do it.
but we just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, why not start to figure out why? Why does Vaporu work?
Or a 7-Up.
Yeah.
I don't know why it works, but just drink it.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, no, that's wild, man. That's
Yeah.
wild.
I know that, you know, talking about, you know, energy and spirituality and different things like that, something that I also find intriguing or interesting is that when Raquel and I, when we started putting more plants in our home, which was, I'll be honest, was recently mainly my fault, you know, because I don't know. I just feel like guys, we're not as good as with the interior decorating as women are. You know, it's
No,
just
not
our
at all.
forte.
Not at all.
You know, I remember being a bachelor where all my walls were just blank.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Just a coffee table, you know,
Little something.
no fancy stuff.
Nothing.
But like even walking into our space now, even walking into our home now, it just feels so much calmer having these other life forms around us, you know. And I'm not saying it could be a placebo effect, but I do believe it helps relieve some of my stress. Now I haven't told her this yet.
You don't want to say
know,
you were right.
Yeah, because I don't want us to have too many plants in there. Now I know she's gonna watch this. And
Right.
It's probably gonna come back to haunt me, but
Yeah.
you know,
You might have to take a plant home.
I probably will.
Yeah.
But I'll say that walking into my space, it kind of does help alleviate, you know, some of the tension or stress from like a long work day, and kind of just makes the home feel way more relaxing. Way more
Yeah,
relaxing.
definitely.
Well, there's something really interesting that I recently found out was that plants have mouths and they have ears within their cells. So each cell is like a mouth that's breathing, right? And they have ears as well. I don't know where their ears are, but they can hear,
Yeah.
right? And we're seeing now like studies where they're putting different music or having people talk to them and see what their growth is, which then translates right to how do we talk to ourselves? How do we talk, you know, to other people, and how does that affect other people?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I read about that like years ago, and that's when I started to change certain things up. It was like right around when Aaliyah was born, my first one, and I saw a study where the I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but he was like saying I hate you to the plant, and then I love you to the other plant, and then you saw the difference, and I was like, oh shit.
Frequencies and vibrations.
Yeah, so then I was like, man, I gotta change the way I move once my
Yeah.
first one was born.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely is something to be said about that.
And this is stuff like, I guess, science is still having a hard time, like, really trying to explain, like, why it happens, but it's there, right?
Yes.
It's there, and that's the eerie part. You know?
Well, I mean, you said it yourself. We live in a very capitalist society,
Yeah.
so if it's not benefiting in money signs,
Making
then
money.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it real?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of money signs, how do you go about bringing customers into the space? Like, how do you get them here?
Well, that's always a hard one, right?
Yeah.
For business.
Right.
I think for me, I want to stay true to myself and what my vision and mission is, right?
Right.
It's creating that space for BIPOC to feel at ease and take care of themselves. Mental health, or just having, getting off of work and you're like, I had a really bad day and I just want to go somewhere where I can just be around nature, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
Winters are rough
True.
here. So
Yeah, it is.
I'm
True.
hoping people feel like they can come and like hang out, and look at the plants, because if they're giving them good vibrations, then that means they're going to also be happy.
Right. Right. Now, do you do a lot of like Facebook ads or Instagram ads, or what's the?
As
what's
of right now, I have not done ads like where I paid for them. I do have a social media manager, which is amazing. She's a Latina that has had a couple of other accounts as well, and
Nice.
she understands the my vision, and because she also is a first gen Latina, so I wanted to make sure that whoever was going to be translating like what we're having in here knew experiences I've had firsthand. You know, to be able to portray that on social media. So right now, thankfully, the community has allowed me to bring in business organically and not have to pay for ads. But, you know, I know eventually that will be a road that I have to take.
Yeah, definitely. That's another side.
What does the next 5 to 10 years look like for Nide Jardin?
Well, it's funny you say that because I was just talking to my husband about that, and I do plan on having some sort of mobile so that I can continue with markets, and also be able to go a little bit further, especially out west, because you know the more west you go, the less of this type of stuff you see. So that's first thing, and then I definitely would like to open a second location. But I want to be intentional of where, right? And when. But if I'm gonna dream a little bit or a lot,
you gotta shoot for the you gotta shoot for the moon.
I'm looking for it to be more of a lifestyle brand.
Nice.
You know, something that represents that I wish I would have had as I was coming of age, and you know, just you know, have things that represent me in, again, being in these two cultures, right? Because there's a lot of that, like I said, I want nice things, I like nice things,
Right.
but I also want them to be representative of the things I want. Like, for example, I love candles. And I could never find a candle before where it smelled like horchata or like fabuloso.
Yeah.
You know? Because those are the things, right?
Yeah.
Candles are for us to be able to like feel good in our space.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
Right.
You know, it's something so trivial, but it's about bringing those things that make you feel good.
Right.
And there's so many ways of connecting with the senses, right?
Yes.
I think from a cultural, you know, because you just brought up scent. Like the smell can remind you of childhood. It can remind you of, you know,
yes,
a certain period of time in your life.
And so I wanted to be able to support brands that elevate those types of experiences, right?
Awesome.
So hopefully I'm doing that, and you know, the community, again, I cannot say enough about my community or our community, you know. I'm representing. I have my Aurorita la Bella shirt.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
go get one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, we don't have any right now, but
yet.
we will be getting some more.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
There you
There
go.
you go.
And what does that mean? The shirt.
Aurorita la Bella. So, oh my God, this is where I'm gonna take it back. So Aurorita la Bella is a huge saying that I think in the Mexican culture, they say it used to be something like if there was a wedding, or like if anyone knows where El Alamo used to be.
Yeah.
Alamo. Yeah, the Alamo. Yeah, buddy.
You know, so if you'd go to a dance, they'd be like, ¿Cómo están, Aurorita la Bella? You know? So it was just like a thing DJs would say at weddings and, you know, quinceañeras and all that. And it just stuck. And I feel like us that grew up with it, like it really means a lot, because basically it means Aurora the Beautiful.
Okay. There you go. I have
Dope,
to get you
dope,
one of them shirts, Malcolm.
Yeah, no, my mom's name is actually Aurora.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And today's her birthday. Shout out to you, Mom.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Mom.
birthday.
Shout out to you, old lady. She turns 55 today.
55 years young.
We got a cookout for you later at 6 p.m. So she won't even. Obviously, she won't even. You know, she's.
Maybe I'll make it into a short real quick.
Yeah. Maybe we will.
Yeah,
Maybe
just
we
do
will.
it. I'll just do it real quick.
Just for moms.
Yeah.
But
But so as we get towards the end, what is some of the advice you can give to young Latina girls or women? You said you went to East High, the local high school on the east side.
Yeah.
What is something advice you could give them who want to either start a business or you know, or traditionally, we always talk about traditional, not traditional. Like I went to college. I don't know if you went to college or not, but if you didn't, what advice would you give them?
So I didn't go to college.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, there
Nothing
isn't
wrong with
anything
that.
wrong with it.
It's a different times
I
now.
did take some classes at Wabanzi, and I also went to hair school. So I have my cosmetology license and my real estate license.
There you go.
When did you go to cosmetology school?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me date myself, man.
Because which school did you go to?
I went to Hair Professionals in Oswego.
When? What year?
2004-ish, 5-ish.
Oh, okay, no, I was this. I went after. Because I'm like, maybe I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe that's where I know you from even before the time when we ran it. But no, okay, so yeah, no, because I went in 2010.
2010. Oh yeah, no. I'm much older, Malcolm.
No.
I'm much older about it.
I know.
But yeah, I guess the first advice I would give any Latina woman, girl, is believe in yourself. Honestly, I have spent so much time not believing in myself, and that has stopped me from not doing things. That when I opened this and saw how the turnout and just how people were believing in me, I literally, and you can ask my husband this, I cried for like a week because one, it was like, oh my God, people are believing me, and two, why haven't I believed in myself this entire time?
Right.
You know, and that I think is number one.
So how does one do that?
How does one believe in yourself?
Yeah.
Honestly, just doing it. That really is. It's just saying like, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna do it. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail, and you know, just like when we started riding bikes, you know, how many times did we not like get on the bike and, you know,
scrape your knee.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, and what did we do? We got right back on and tried it again.
Yep. No, that's true. That's true.
You know?
What else would you tell them?
The other one is there are so many resources that, you know, even if one says no, try another one. Talk to other Latina women that are in business. More than likely, they are going to help you. You know, I know that there's people that have come and they've asked me, and I'm like, yes, absolutely. How can I, you know, if I can help and I'm available, I will. If I can't, we can set a time so that we can do that. Okay. But, you know, go out there, get those resources. WBDC, the Women's Business Development Center, is a great resource. I just took a class, and they basically, you know, the fire started in January 6th, but then they were like, girl, get it together.
Nice.
You know, awesome. And finally would be that even though sometimes it looks like we all got it together, we don't.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
I think most people don't.
Yeah,
we're all trying to figure
we're just
it out.
talking about that.
Yeah, that's what we were literally saying right before you showed up, was like, you know, when you're a kid, you know, like, or just take your oldest daughter's age, right?
Yeah.
You think that when you look at adults that are in their 30s or 40s, you're supposed to have it all figured out.
Right.
You should have. What do you mean you don't? You know,
right.
You're having a bad day, or you're going through a mental breakdown, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to that age and you realize, like, man, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
You know,
barely starting to figure it out.
And just now starting to figure it all
barely,
out. You know?
Barely.
Yeah. And I think also, I forgot who I heard recently that said this, but they said that self-doubt has killed more dreams than fear or like, or than anything else or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so true.
Yeah.
You know? So now I wake up and I'm like, does Beyonce doubt herself? No. So why should I?
Right. But I'm sure she does, though. I'm sure
I know
there's
she
days,
does. Yes.
and Jay-Z's right there like, hey, look, B.
Yeah.
hey, B.
Right, hey, B.
We can't do that today. No. We got to go on tour, baby. Let's get it together. You know?
Yeah, that's funny, man.
No, it's true.
That's funny.
It's true. Well, we appreciate you again.
Yeah.
You know, you guys, you and your husband for having us in the space,
Oh
allowing us to shoot today. You know, on camera, off camera, we've had some really good dialogue, you know, some really good conversations, and it's always nice, you know, to have healthy dialogue like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure for me. And, you know, I always tell my husband, I'm like, anything that we can do for the community to, you know, just get resources out there, knowledge, like, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do too. Just try to plug people in
Yeah.
where they can get help. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah. And we also wanted to show love, to our city first and foremost. We could
Yeah.
easily start going to all these other places and start, having a bunch of different people on the podcast, but we wanted to start here in the city first.
yep.
Try to
Yeah.
connect as many people as possible.
I mean, I won't say we live in the greatest city, but it is really cool.
I mean,
No.
I've been to a few cities, and I mean it's pretty nice here.
It is.
I like coming back home.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are spoiled with food.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we got. Yeah,
I was
we got a lot
just
of good-
outside of Cleveland this weekend, and shout out Cleveland. Cleveland's cool. Not saying nothing bad about Cleveland, but it ain't like Aurora, man. Man, it is not like home. It
Yep.
is definitely not like home.
No place like home, as they
Yeah,
say.
for sure.
No place like home.
Other than Puerto Rico, I do like Puerto Rico. I'm gonna say
I
I
haven't
do like
been
Puerto
yet.
Rico.
I
gotta
need to
go.
go
All right,
too.
all right.
You
So
haven't been yet either?
I mean,
haven't
outside
been.
of Puerto Rico, I like being home.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So
Well, to all of our listeners and our viewers, we'd like to say thank you for watching and listening. If you get a chance, please come down to Nide Jardin so you can see all these beautiful plants. Stop by, buy one, get an horchata candle.
There you go.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.